What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kylie and Cole episode 8. The football season, this is like sad, kind of, because football season is almost halfway over. We're getting very close. Week 8, there's 17 weeks in a season, right? 17 weeks there's 18 weeks, 17 games. So we're getting very close to the halfway point. Bittersweet. It's been a wild ride. It was actually a pretty fun season for the Chiefs fans so far until last Sunday. So we're definitely going to talk about that. We want to talk about trade deadline stuff because there was a lot that happened for the Chiefs before the trade deadline. Sarcasm. Talk about the wide receiver room. The Chiefs did sign a pretty key depth piece, in my opinion, in the linebacker room, a room that is really getting hit hard by injuries. Then obviously we want to talk Chiefs and Dolphins. And at the end, for any super chats or anything like that, we will get to those questions on the last about 10 minutes or so. So let's get into it. But first, how about the Chiefs? Kylie. How the heck are you?
What's up?
And what was your reaction to Sunday? Let's just get into it.
I was like sick to my stomach. Well, okay. Let me just say, it was like not expected, obviously, for us to play that poorly. But I feel like we do have a game like that every season. Last year's Colts game. I mean, I feel like this was worse than the Colts game, but I also think that we do have one of these games this season. So I was like, But I did feel off. Like the minute I started getting the alerts that Mahomes was sick, I was like, things are starting to smell a little funky. Things are smelling a little funky. And then the game got started, and like right away, I was just like, this doesn't feel right. Like staying positive, still thinking, because I mean, you have Patrick Mahomes, you have Travis Kelce, you have Andy Reid, still thinking like we're going to come back and win. We've come back so many times. It wasn't until, I don't know, like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter that I was like, no, we're really going to lose this game. That's a bummer. Okay, well, but I think it was like, it's not like, is it worse to lose by one and like see them put an amazing effort out, or to lose like that? Like, what do you think? Was that harder for you to watch, or was it harder to watch the Lions loss?
No, I think the Lions one was, well, the Lions one had its own problems because the Chiefs probably should have won that by 10. But I feel like that's easier or better than completely soiling your joggers against a division. That's Irish term for your pants. Against a division rival that you've literally owned. You have the majority stake not only in the entire organization and their ticket sales, but also Walmart, the entire organization that purchased them in the first place. So when you own an organization like that and then you get humbled, so like it's not even, I mean, the Broncos played a good game. They showed up in the red zone. I think Vance Joseph had a nice couple wrinkles on the defensive side of the ball. But when you turn the ball over 5 times, you're 0-3 in the red zone. 3 turnovers of the 5 was on Mahomes. The nasty one by McCole Hardman at the 5 where he muffed the punt. Like, that was worse to me. That was worse to me than the Colts game. At least the Colts game, it was down to the wire. The Chiefs potentially had a chance to drive the field and win the game. So if you remember, Mahomes threw a pick at the end, but he had a chance to drive down the field and score. This game, I mean, once McCole muffed that punt, they score and they go up 11. And then, I mean, even if Sky catches that touchdown pass that he should have caught, I don't really care what anybody says. I will argue this all day. He should have freaking caught the ball. I understand he lost track of it, but dude, come on, man. I've been waiting on this man to do something since I was like 5 years old, and I'm 32, lost all my hair, and Sky still hasn't done anything. So I don't really care. But even if Sky would have scored that touchdown, they're still down 4 points, or I think they would have been down 5. Maybe you go for 2. Would you be down 3? Because it was 9-21. I can't do math.
No. We would have been down 4. We would have been down 7. 4.
Yeah. You still would have had to go score a touchdown. So what are your thoughts? I'm kind of rambling, but like I say all that to say, I feel like the Colts game was not as bad, even though they were a piss poor team. But the Chiefs, even with all the implosions, the Chiefs still lost barely. They got smoked on Sunday.
That's the thing, right? Like we had 5 turnovers and we were still with like 5, 7, 8 minutes left. It was like, okay, we could still win this. I don't know. not many games where you have 5 turnovers and you still think you can win the game. So I thought that was, I mean, that's something. But so the turnovers are a problem. Obviously, I know Mahomes was sick. I'm not trying to chalk it up too much to him being sick. I hate when people make excuses like that. So I don't really want to make excuses, but he was sick. So that is something, and
Yeah.
you could tell he definitely wasn't 100%. I think, too, there's something to note about having the flu. Like, not only are you physically sick, but I do feel like it messes with you mentally a little bit. So it was obvious he was not 100%. But when you're tossing guys the ball, like when you aren't 100% and then you're making these amazing throws, I mean, that throw to Sky Moore was right in the breadbasket. Like, that thing was,
It was fine.
it was amazing. It was
right
fine.
there.
It was fine. And if you want to say that the defender was grabbing his arm, I don't feel like that's really why he didn't catch the ball. So I agree with you. I feel like he completely should have caught that. And I think too, if you make that catch and you get a touchdown, the momentum comes back to you. And our defense had been getting us out of tough situations all day long. So honestly, obviously they had 24 points, but the defense was put in really short fieldage positions all day long. We were giving the Broncos the ball. What was the muff punt? They got it with inside the 10. And of course they scored there. So it was like, I mean, that's not on the defense. We had a blocked field goal. Justin Reed had a blocked field goal. George Karlaftis had 2 sacks of the 6 that they had as a total. And I believe he had a forced fumble. So the defense was doing their part. And I think that that's still really encouraging to see. But when the defense does their part and you get all this momentum and then the offense comes out and they cannot execute or keep the momentum going, it's really frustrating. And that was, I think, what was so hard to watch is all these years, the offense has been the ones to really bail us out. And to see it be on the flip of that is just, it's really wild. It's really wild.
Here's another thing too. As good as Rashee Rice has been, he's still struggling. He missed a key block on that 3rd and 2 where they had Jerick McKinnon go back behind the line of scrimmage on a jet or a swing pass, and that was blown up. Rashee missed his block, and then did you see this on Twitter? The all 22 angle of Rashee Rice's drop. This is one we don't talk about enough, but look where he is when he drops his pass. Wide open, right here. He's turning this way, but the way he is after the catch, that might be a touchdown. If not, you're back in the red zone again. And that was a drop, a bad drop too. So we're not even just talking about the 5 turnovers, which the 5th turnover was like, Mahomes threw a prayer up on 4th and 20,000. It was 4th and 22 or something. That was a prayer. Mahomes threw it into quadruple I think quadruple coverage, just trying to hopefully draw a flag or something. And honestly, they probably should have called a flag on that play. I don't think the Chiefs would have won that game or anything like that, even with that call. But yeah, just to what you said, the offense has got to figure it out, and we can talk about this a little bit more in a second. But yeah, the defense really played. I mean, they played pretty well. I understand the Broncos scored 24, but dude, when the average field position for the Broncos is the Chiefs' 29-yard line, what the hell is the Chiefs' defense really supposed to do? What are they honestly supposed to do? And then look at this. I want to show you this real quick, and then we don't have to stick on this game for very much longer because it's depressing. But look at the Chiefs' defense on these Denver drives. Like, look at Denver's drives. Field goal, fumble. They scored a touchdown here, but that's because no, wait. Let me go back. They scored a touchdown opening drive after the Chiefs went 3 and out. So we know that. But then 3 and out right here. Then the Chiefs fumble, giving them pretty good field position. Touchdown. Chiefs throw an INT. The defense, though, steps up. Turnover on downs. That's the Drew Tranquil sack behind the line of scrimmage,
That's right.
causing Russell to fumble out of bounds. Chiefs do have a little bit of a drive here. Only kick a field goal. Then the Broncos punt. That's another stop by the Chiefs defense. Chiefs fumble. That's the MVS fumble, I believe. Or
I think that's the
no, this was
the
MVS.
Mahomes
I think this was
fumble.
MVS.
Yeah.
This was Mahomes. Dude, then though, I don't remember. Okay, fumble. Oh, they strip sacked it right back. That was George Karlaftis. So that's another win for the Chiefs defense. Chiefs kicked like a freaking huge field goal before half. That's Harrison Butker with stones of granite, the MVP of the team. Then,
Honestly.
Justin Reed blocks that field goal. They go 13 plays, 55 yards, take 8.5 minutes. Justin Reed blocks this field goal, gives the momentum back to the Chiefs. It's still a 5-point game. Chiefs have to punt. Okay, 11 plays, 55 yards, 6.5 minutes. They have to punt again. Talking about the Broncos because the defense stops them.
Yeah.
But that was the muffed punt right there. That's the killer. Muffed punt, 2 plays, 10 yards, touchdown, 9-21. But, dude, like, you just look at the Chiefs' defense and what they actually did with what they were given, and they played incredible. Yeah, they played absolutely incredible.
No, they absolutely killed it. I think that they gave up like 3.7 yards per play, and the Broncos only had like 87 passing yards the whole game. So, like, really the score shows one thing, but the defense just really showed up in a big way. And to have, like we were showing, like, the blocked field goal and then just have that deflated immediately because the offense goes out and they can't capitalize. And then to see the forced fumble and then the offense goes out and they can't capitalize. So Travis Kelce kind of spoke to it today on New Heights. If you guys watch New Heights, it's a really great show. I recommend it. But he spoke to it. You could tell he was visibly upset. I think they shoot those on Mondays or Tuesdays. I'm not sure. But
they filmed it on Halloween,
Wednesdays.
I think. So I think they film it on Tuesdays. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so it was pretty fresh, but you could just see, like, his energy wasn't there with the show, and you could see how visibly upset he was so upset. He was still, like, really, really not happy about his performance, the offense's performance as a whole, and he even calls himself out, and he says, I have to be a better leader. We didn't execute when we were given opportunities, and I didn't keep the momentum, and that's on me, which I think it's really big of him to come out and say, I got to be better leader in those situations, because I think we can all agree that Kelce does his part a lot of the time, but for him to speak to the leadership part of it, I think that's a big call out, because somebody's got to wrangle the troops over there and get them all straightened out mentally as well, especially after a fumble that MVS has, or a dropped pass here or there, because there's a few of them. Anyway, it was a bad loss.
And we can say this too. I don't have time to argue with people on Twitter because I make no money on Twitter. I do not care about Twitter. Twitter is not a real place. I didn't have time or the care or the desire to try to go into detail on the whole Patrick Mahomes is not playing well narrative. He had a bad game against the Broncos. No ifs, ands, or buts. But if you look league-wide, like, every QB is not playing as well right now. It's because the defenses, it's a cyclical system, and the defenses right now are the ones that are kind of holding, well, basically except for the Dolphins, everybody down more so than the average year. So even before, this is what I was saying. People are like, well, Mahomes is more to blame than people want to give. Okay, yeah, maybe for the Denver loss because he didn't play well at all. I agree, but throughout the season, the course of the season, Mahomes is still one of the front runners for MVP. I haven't even looked up the new odds. He's probably second. He was first. And he's still top 5 in almost every single category for quarterbacks based on what he has in this room. We were talking about this last night, Kylie. I'd love to get your thoughts. If you had Brock Purdy, Jimmy G, even Tua Tagovailoa, insert X amount of QBs that are good quarterbacks, but not great. Like, Jimmy G is actually not good at all. But if you had one of those quarterbacks on this offense right now, you think the Chiefs are 6-2? I think they're closer to 500, in my opinion.
Absolutely not. No, I completely agree. I think there's a lot of time. Well, what was the game? I think even the Jets game, I know that was the second half of that game was subpar, but at the end of that game, he's the one that he ran it up the middle, got that first down. I believe he ran up the sideline. But there are instances like that in multiple games across this season where he stepped up, put the team on his shoulders, and delivered. And I know that there have been some ups and downs with him. Obviously, last game wasn't great. I would say that he would probably tell you he's having a season that's not up to his standard, because I think he holds himself to a really high bar, which is perfectly fine. But he's still, I think, on track to have like 4,500 yards. I'm not sure how many touchdowns he has on the season, but I think he's only so Tua, I believe, is leading the league in passing yards, and I think Mahomes is only like 200 yards behind him. So he's still having a really great season. Yeah, he's still having a really great season. It's just maybe not what the offense that we're used to seeing.
Yeah. And like, think about the other stuff too with Mahomes. That strip sack on Mahomes in this Broncos game, first fumble lost by Mahomes all year. He's only been sacked. I mean, he's one of the least sacked quarterbacks in the league, one of the best pressure to sack ratio percentages in the NFL. Like, he's a freaking magician, even when the offense, like, it could be way worse. We'll just put it that way. So when people are like trying to pin it more on Mahomes than they need to, I'm like, nah, dog. I understand Mahomes. Here's another thing, and we'll move on. But like, Mahomes has some trust issues because you look at the coach's film, and there is receivers open on some of these plays. But the problem is, I don't know if Mahomes trusts that they're going to be where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there, unless it's Travis Kelce. So that could be a thing where Mahomes just needs to trust somebody and just let it rip. But I think he's also worried about throwing more INTs. He's worried about protecting the ball and still wanting to drive the field. So it's definitely a mix of stuff there. I don't know if we'll ever fully know, but Travis Kelce kind of said it today in his podcast. He said, I can't recall a time on this team when it's this far into the season and we're still not really figuring it out. And at the end of his segment where he talked about it, he said, at the end of the day, I'm not seeing anything on film that is overwhelmingly alarming. He's like, all this stuff is fixable. The play calls have been fine, but the execution has been off. So he's like, we need to execute. You said it earlier, what he kind of said there. So I am not overly concerned, but the title of this stream is something along the lines of, can the Chiefs beat the Dolphins after folding to the Broncos? So we'll definitely get there. Chiefs trade deadline comes, or not, NFL trade deadline comes. You could say Chiefs trade deadline because it was for every team, but NFL trade deadline comes and goes. No other move was made. Were you expecting them to grab somebody, or did it make sense when the deadline passed and all they did was sign super under the radar linebacker Darius Harris?
I think following Sunday's loss, it's really easy to be like, we really need a wide receiver. They've got to trade for someone because of, recency bias, I guess, if you want to call it that. But I don't know that I'm surprised. I feel like we all kind of saw, the trade for McCole for me was very surprising. But then after they did that, when you look at the picks they have next year, we know Veach likes to hoard his picks a little bit more. Exactly. So 5 picks. I don't see him wanting to get rid of those. And was there anyone out there that was really what they needed or what they were looking for? And I think that, how many wide receivers got traded? Just Peoples for...
There wasn't many.
Jones. No, I think it was just the Lions grabbed one. Anyway, so not many wide receivers were moving around. So I think that it's a mixture of, the right guy and wanting to get rid of those picks. And I don't think that that's what Veach wanted to do. And Andy says he believes that they have the right guys right now for the wide receiver room. And I'm choosing to believe that. I do want to go back to the loss just a little bit because I feel like a little bit of this it can be falls on coaching a little bit. I don't know what's going on in the facility or what goes on at practices, but I know what I'm seeing on the field during games, and it feels like some of these receivers aren't being put in great positions. Is it possible that Sky would be better inside? Is it possible that we're not using these receivers in the right way? I don't know. I don't know for sure. It's possible that at some point you have to look at coaching when it comes to execution. And I don't want to sit here and say that we miss Eric Bieniemy. I don't know that I believe that, but I think that his styles demand a little bit more perfection, I guess, if you will, and a little bit more crisp play. And that's kind of where we're lacking this season. So I do wonder if they correlate, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. It's an interesting, dude, let's just put it this way. We're spoiled as Chiefs fans. We're 6-2, sure. The 1 seed in the AFC, like still a top 5, top 10 offense in most categories, top 5 defense, top 3 on special teams, and we're freaking out. People want Veach fired. I mean, it's just like, come on.
Oh my gosh.
You could be the Raiders, and we could talk about that in a second because they fired everybody and they're benching Jimmy Garoppolo. But one thing I was going to say is one reason why I some things Andy Reid says in pressers, I'm like, yeah, okay, that was cute. Because he's just he hates speaking at pressers, and he's never going to throw anybody under the bus publicly. That's not how he rolls. However, I kind of do believe him when he says, we just got to fix some mistakes and turnovers and have better execution. If the Chiefs didn't have 5 turnovers, or let's say they didn't have 3 turnovers and maybe just 1, you think they win that game against the Broncos? Because I do. As long as they're, even if they're struggling in the red zone again, because the defense is probably going to hold them. So you fix those turnovers, and we're talking about a different game. But since we're here, let's talk about it real quickly, and we'll turn the page. But the Raiders fired everybody late last night after Halloween. I think what's the guy's freaking name? Mark
Davis.
Yeah, I was like, it's not Mark Donovan because that's the Chiefs. I was like, what Mark is it? The bowl cut looking man.
Terrible haircut.
He had way too much candy last night, was pissed off, and he's like, I'm done. Fired their OC, fired the GM, and fired McDaniels. So then they've elevated and promoted interims and all that stuff. But so they fire 3 coaches. Then they announced they're benching Jimmy Garoppolo and starting the 4th-round draft pick, Aiden O'Connell. I'm bringing all this up. I'd love to hear your thoughts, but I'm just like, we could be the Raiders organization, guys. It could be way worse. So what are your thoughts on
100%. 100%. Well, I woke up to the news. Like, I was fast asleep when Mark Davis was over there firing people left and right, and woke up to it, and I was like, they actually did it. Like, half an eye open, like, oh my gosh, did they actually fire everybody, basically? Because I feel like I've been saying, Josh McDaniels sucks. A lot of people have said Josh McDaniels is a terrible coach, but it's just taken a really long time for them to get there. They can't find a decent part. It's so true. Someone's got to get that man a haircut. I think he just really thinks it looks good. It doesn't. Anyway, do I feel like they needed to clean house completely? I don't know. It's hard to know without really following the team. But the Jimmy G thing, like, you guys knew who this guy was coming in, right? Like, I don't know why. Like, they got rid of Derek Carr, and then they bring in Jimmy G as if it's any different. And then we saw obviously a piss poor performance from him on Sunday night, and obviously an unhappy Devontae Adams. It does make me wonder, is Devontae Adams happy about all this? Like, do you think he was like, get rid of this guy, get rid of this guy, get rid of this guy?
I think he's probably glad they're gone, but he still probably hates to be in that situation overall. He wanted to be with Derek Carr, and he's gone. So
right. Well, now you're in a worse situation almost, because there's no direction right now.
Yep.
Not that there was really direction prior, but whatever. They can do whatever they want. They're a dumpster fire either way. Yeah.
Something that's not a dumpster fire, Kansas City, even though there's some areas to work on. I will say I thought the Chiefs made a really good move on the day of the trade deadline. Super solid pickup. Nothing that's like people are going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that. It's not a wide receiver, but they signed Darius Harris off the practice squad of the Raiders. Speaking of the Raiders, they signed him to the roster. So this is really good for depth because Nick Bolton out on IR. Cole Christensen, who was, and I'm kind of going backwards like ping pong in here, but Cole Christensen was on the practice squad, linebacker. He got placed on the practice squad injured list with a hamstring issue a few weeks ago. Then Willie Gay has a lower back tailbone issue, questionable to return in the Broncos game. Didn't return, didn't practice today. May not play in Germany. Like I don't know yet. So they're hurting for linebackers. On top of that, what really scared me is when Drew Tranquill went down in the game. I don't know if you saw that. He went down to one knee and he was doing this, and I was like terrified. I was like, he's either what's his nuts from Marvel, about to like snap his fingers and go crazy, or he actually got hurt. And if he was out, you're talking Jack Cochran, Cam Jones, and Leo Chanel holding it down in the linebacker room. So Darius Harris makes sense to me because he played about 300 defensive snaps last year, about 178 special team snaps, which was 10th most on the team, and he can play all 3 linebacker positions. He was here for at least 2-3 years. I can't remember how many exactly, but super valuable depth piece. That is not a sexy signing, but that is a signing the Chiefs needed very badly. I literally said before the trade deadline, watch for a linebacker. I don't know if they'll trade for one. I didn't know. I wasn't sure about that, but they got one. And so I am glad about that. Nothing insane. Although they did trade for a wide receiver before the trade deadline. McCole Hardman, nobody likes that answer, but they went and got a receiver. And he outsnapped Kadarius Toney on offense last week, I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but it was either he outsnapped him or it was close. And I'm very confused about Kadarius Toney right now. I don't know, he doesn't look the same. And they're not. I don't know what they're doing. They're just using him in these little gadgety things in the backfield. I don't understand what they're doing. Don't understand.
I don't know either. I don't know if it's like don't show your cards. Like I would like to believe that because it makes me feel better, but I don't know that that's really what's going on. It's very bizarre. It's very puzzling. And then Justin Watson came back, and he showed up last week and did some good things, especially with that bionic arm that he was carrying.
Justin Gronkson is what he looked like.
Justin Gronkson. Yeah. I don't know. I'm actually back to the Darius Harris. I was pretty pumped on that signing just because it does. I think he signed with them in 2019. So I think he has 2 Super Bowls with the Chiefs, actually, which is pretty wild. But he knows the defense. He knows Spag's system, which is difficult to get into because it's so intricate, I guess you could say. And so I thought it was a good signing. It's familiar. So I think that's something we need, especially when your top 2 linebackers are potentially out. Obviously, Drew Tranquill's been doing well, but like you said, that scared the crap out of me when I thought he was also going to be out last weekend. And then you've got Chenal, but they use him. They use him a little differently. But we're gonna need the linebacker help going into Miami, going to Germany, going against Miami. But they've got a strong run game. I know we'll get to it, but we need linebackers.
We can kind of pivot. We can kind of pivot there unless you have anything else in particular to talk about. I mean, outside of the trade deadline, there wasn't a lot that went on. The only other person to look at on the injury report for the Chiefs is Jerick McKinnon, who's still dealing with a groin spasm. Just kidding, a strained groin. He's been dealing with that. He's been on the injury report with it. I think it was kind of just resting him, taking it easy, because that's a soft tissue injury that can linger if you're not careful. So you got to watch that. And we need McKinnon out there because I don't really know what we would do without him. I don't want to see CEH out there. I want to see CEH out there as little as humanly possible at this point in time.
Well, here's my thing with McKinnon. I completely agree with you. I absolutely love McKinnon, but why isn't he being used? Like,
he's mainly the third down back. He's almost out there on every third down.
Yeah. But again,
well, I think part of it too, there is an aspect, in my opinion, of preserving the guy because it's a long season and the Chiefs are going to be in the postseason. And he's getting older, so you want to manage his workload a little bit. And he's struggling with an injury right now, and has been doing that. Has been like that for a few weeks. So I think that's the main stuff. But he's mainly out there for third downs and red zone stuff, from what I can see. And hopefully he heals up. I'll tell you that, because we need that guy. We need that guy out there.
Definitely don't want Clyde out there. That was mean. Sorry, but I don't want him out
there. Just as little as possible. I mean, he's fine every now and again. There's another issue we could talk through. The Chiefs are like 23rd in run blocking right now. That's per PFF. But like last year they were like 3rd or 4th, maybe 5th. The year before they were like tied for 2nd. So they've taken a huge dip. And some of that struggle is probably Jawan Taylor and Donovan. I almost said Donovan Jones. Donovan Smith. They're not the best run blockers in the world. Like, we knew that when we signed them, but like that's affecting the Chiefs' run game a little bit, even though their stats aren't outrageously different. And thank God we have Pacheco, because sometimes there's nothing there on the run and Pacheco freaking trucks them, steamrolls them, or does something crazy to turn basically nothing into something. So I do hope to see, if we're talking offensive struggles, we talk a lot about like Mahomes and the receivers, but I want to see the run blocking get a little bit better. I would really like to see that ASAP, to be honest.
I agree, but I also need to see them run the ball in general. And maybe it goes hand in hand. Maybe they're struggling they don't run the ball because they don't feel like their run blocking is strong. But Pacheco had like 8 carries last game against the Broncos. And when you're not when you're not forcing the defense to respect the run, it's more difficult for those wide receivers to get open, and that's already something that we're struggling with. So it's just, I think that kind of goes back to some of those coaching decisions I was talking about. Like, I just feel like they need to be more balanced with the run and the pass attack. So hopefully we see that in Miami with Miami next week or in 5 days.
Your Kingdom Cast buddy, D-Mac, he posted something. I was trying to see if I could find it real quick, but I'm not sure that I can. He compared the Chiefs' first 8 weeks, a couple of their run stats last year compared to this year. And it was, oh, here it is. Here's something. I haven't really looked at it, but here we go. Oh, why does it keep doing this? You annoying little thing. All right, here we are. Look at this real quick. Rushing attempts per game, 23.3 in 2022, 25.3 in 2023. So they're averaging a couple more rushes per game right now over the 8-game stretch, I believe, in the season. Rushing yards per game, about the same. So they're probably frustrating us just as much this year as they did last year, for what that's worth.
Everything's just magnified when the offense, when it feels like we're not putting up as many points as we were last year, which we're not. And then you come off a frustrating loss like that, it feels like everything just gets magnified.
Yeah. No, for sure.
A little harsher.
The part of the problem last week is 4 turnovers. They couldn't establish drives and even begin to run the ball as much as they should have. And then when you're playing from behind there near the end, after that last touchdown, you're not really running it.
Right.
Is part of the issue there. Let's talk Chiefs and Dolphins. How are you feeling after this loss to the Broncos, and then knowing who the Chiefs are going to play here soon? I mean, you want to talk about a high-powered offense. You're talking about the Dolphins. They're number 1 in points per game, number 1 in the red zone, top 10 on third downs. Tua has the most TDs in the NFL, best passer rating, top 3 and blah, 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 top 5 and basically everything else. Another interesting thing about Tua, 3rd fastest time to release in the NFL. He's getting the ball out very quick, 2.1 seconds or something like that. Mahomes, on the flip side, 3rd slowest time to release, which is fine. Mahomes always kind of takes his time. It's kind of always been like that. But when Tua, when it's like clean pocket, he can go through his reads and it's not disrupted and he's able to release the ball pretty quickly. That's how the Dolphins move the best. I think the Dolphins have 2 losses. Both of those losses, Tua's been sacked 3 times, or at least 3 times. So there is a way. There is a way to disrupt that high-powered offense, and we're talking more than just quadruple teaming Tyreek Hill, or bracketing rather. Just I was exaggerating on purpose, but bracketing Tyreek, you got to watch out for Waddle. Raheem Mostert, he's like 1st in the NFL with 10 touchdowns. He averages like 5.5 yards per carry. One weakness of the Chiefs defense, I saw this earlier. Where are we at here? The Chiefs have allowed 4.5 yards per carry to running backs this season, which is 26th in the NFL. So as good as the Chiefs defense is, 3rd best scoring defense, pretty great in the red zone. The Chiefs defense has only allowed a touchdown on 13 of 83 drives this season, which is a 15.7% touchdown rate total, which is very good. The Chiefs have, I think they're tied for the 2nd most sacks as well, believe it or not. That 6-sack game against Russell's statue in the pocket, freaking Wilson, they sacked him 6 times. They sacked him half a dozen times because that man, he can move, but I don't understand. That's where I'm like, dude, you could have if you had Russell Wilson on this team, Chiefs are 500. He sucks at avoiding sacks. He just folds like a lawn chair in his owner's Walmart parking lot. Like, anyway, he won the game. They won the game. So hats off. They made it work. He threw 3 touchdown passes on like 22 attempts. Have a freaking day, dude. But to go back to the Dolphins, like, the Chiefs got to get pressure on Tua. Of course, they've got to bracket Hill. You can't forget about Waddle because he's fast as hell. And then when you're on these passing plays, you can't lose track of Mostert either because he's fast. I never wish injuries upon anybody, so I didn't want him injured, but Kind of thank God Achane is still recovering, and he's not out there either, because that's a rookie running back that can also run a 4.2 whatever 40. Bunch of freaking fast little demons. So yeah, that's a couple things about Dolphins offense, Chiefs defense, and what we need to see. I mean, I don't care who it is, if it's Snead, if it's Trent, but we need these receivers disrupted at the line of scrimmage. Snead got flagged like 6 times last game, which we didn't even talk about. That was annoying, but I feel like he needs to play just as aggressive. I'd rather have a 5-yard holding penalty than a 95-yard touchdown from Tyreek Hill. So disrupt him at the line of scrimmage, annoy him, piss him off, chip at him, like do what you need to do. And then the D-line needs to get home. And I will say this too. Tua struggles against the blitz, and the Chiefs are the best defense in the NFL at mixing up their coverages and their looks. So I think Spags is going to have a masterclass. I think he could do it, though. What are your thoughts on at least Dolphins offense, Chiefs defense?
Well, I'll tell you. So they're very fast, as you pointed out. They're a very, very quick team. So I am a slightly concerned. Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
You just feel the breeze going by. So I'm slightly concerned being down Nick Bolton and possibly Willie Gay, just because they're both so fast and athletic, and
especially
if
Willie.
We're going to stop the run. Yeah, and if we're going to stop the run and contain Mostert, where I think we really need strong linebacker play, specifically since we struggle against the run anyway. So that's a concern that I have against them. We do, however, want to kind of push them to run the ball so that we can lock down Waddle and Hill. I think, to your point, I think Snead, he's done a great job all year long. He's the most physical cornerback that we have, obviously. He always plays with aggression. He plays with intensity. We saw what he did with Justin Jefferson. I would say that Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson, although Tyreek is quicker, I mean, they're both elite wide receivers. So if he can lock him down, which I think they can, he and McDuffie together, I think Spags knows how to play Hill. Now, I think in that same token, Hill knows kind of what to expect from Spags. So it'll be interesting to see kind of that little dance that they'll do. But again, I think I think a lot of people are expecting a shootout. A lot of people are expecting it to be a high-scoring game. I don't know that that's going to be the case. I think that we're going to see a little bit more of them running the ball than we probably expect. And I think it's going to be I think it might even stay in the 20s, below 20. I don't know. We'll get into that later. But yeah, so that's how I feel about the defense. I think that they can handle it. When they've matched, like you said, when they've matched difficult defenses like the Eagles and the Bills, I think are those 2 losses that they have, and people that can get home and get to the quarterback, like you said, like they struggled. And I truly believe that our defense is on par with the Eagles and the Bills, and I think that we can contain them in that sense. So I'm feeling optimistic, even though I would like to feel a little more secure with our linebacking core. But
yeah, I'm going to be curious to see how some things pan out. You know, Andy Reid said today, you can do some things to limit Hill, but you're not going to be able to stop him from making plays. I mean, that is for sure. If we look at, I want to look at something real quick here, and then we'll get back into this. But dude, why are you doing this every time? Sorry. What do I want to go to? I want to go to this. Why is it doing that every time? You annoying little software. All right. Dolphins schedule this year. They beat the Chargers by 2. I mean, for what it's worth, the Chiefs beat the Chargers by 2 scores. They only beat the Patriots by a touchdown. Then, of course, this is where a lot of their stats inflated. I don't even understand this. I mean, I watched the highlights. I took it all in, and I'm just like, this is unbelievable. I think the Broncos literally marched out a high school team and put them in NFL jerseys. Like, I just don't understand it. Then the Broncos score 20. Next week, the Dolphins score 20. Bills beat them 48-20.
Yeah, they put it on them.
Yeah, they did. Then Giants, they beat the Giants 16-31. The Giants suck, so I hope you beat them. You know, I would say the same about the Chiefs and the Broncos, but whatever. That didn't happen. They beat the Panthers pretty decisively. Then they just got beat by the Eagles 17-31. The Eagles are good. And then they beat the Patriots 17-31. So I mean, you look at who they've played. They played the Chargers, the Patriots twice, the Broncos. They have played the Bills, but then they played the Giants, the Panthers, dude. The Panthers are 0-7. I mean,
Garbage.
they've played bums off the street for half the season. So Am I saying that they're not a good team? No, I think they are a good team, and there are definite ways the Dolphins can win this game. But I don't know that I fear them like some people do because of how well the Chiefs' defense is playing. Now, if the Chiefs' offense comes out and turns the ball over 15 times, I mean, yeah, they're losing this game. There's no doubt about it. But you want to flip to the other side of the field? Talk about that. Chiefs' offense, Dolphins' defense.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to feel encouraged after last week's performance, but I do believe in Andy Reid and Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, and that they can not only use their leadership but use their skill to get this team back on track in some sense or in form or fashion. Their defense has struggled, like you said, against tight ends. I think you mentioned that earlier, and I think Kelsey's going to eat. I think that's going to be a really good opportunity, I think, for him. And I think that if we play a more balanced game, like I spoke to a little bit earlier, we got to be able to run the ball so that we bring up their defense and then open things up for our receivers. So I'm feeling optimistic. I truly do feel like this is going to be a Petty Mahomes game. I mean, there's been a lot of talk between Tyreek Hill and, well, I've got the best quarterback in the league now. I've got Tua. I mean, I'm like, dude, really? Like, I don't even know what we're talking about. But, Mahomes has heard that. And so I think there's going to be a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, not only because of those comments, but because of the terrible game that is just behind us with that Broncos loss. So I think.
Hey, my bad. I forgot the Panthers freaking beat the Texans, dude. My bad. They're 1-6. People in chat are like, hey, you're wrong. They're not 0-7. Yeah, my bad. I forgot, actually.
That was like last weekend. I think that was their first win. It
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. I think they're all fired up. I think that this exposed some of those maybe things that they were putting on little Band-Aids over, and this really is showing you like we got to step up, we got to bring our A game. And I think Mahomes is fired up. I think obviously Kelsey's fired up, and I think they're going to get the rest of those guys fired up. And I think they want to prove that this offense can be something. So this is going to be a good test. This whole game is going to be a good test. Give me your thoughts on the offense.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I want to watch, and people are going to probably roll their eyes when I say this, but I need to watch this red zone battle and see the Chiefs get some points in the red zone. And here's why I say that. The Dolphins defense, believe it or not, they are 28th in allowing touchdowns in the red zone. That's not good. That's not good at all. They allow 25.5 points per game, which is 25th in the NFL. But why I want to see the red zone battle is because over the last 3 games, the Chiefs are 28th, 29th in scoring touchdowns in the red zone. I'm talking about the Chiefs offense over the last 3 games. Now, big part of that is because they were 1-8 in the red zone against Denver over the course of 2 games. That's how much it sunk them or dropped them in the ratings. You look season wide and the Chiefs are like 18th in the red zone on offense. So while they're top 3, top 5, top 7 in a lot of categories, they might be the 9th highest scoring offense right now. And I kind of look at them a little higher than that, even because they kneeled 2 games out at the 1 yard line earlier this season. Could have scored a little bit more, but that's whatever. They don't care about padding their stats. They want to win games, and so that's fine. But I do want to watch the red zone battle because the Chiefs offense has struggled in the red zone against some teams, clearly 18th in the league, 28th or 29th in the league over the last 3 games. Meanwhile, the Dolphins defense is 28th in allowing touchdowns in the red zone. They also allow a 109.3 rating to tight ends, which hopefully spells good things not only for Travis Kelce, but for Noah Gray, who is kind of underrated as sleeper makes plays, dude. There was one play last week. It was absolutely hilarious. Mahomes spins around in a circle, and Noah Gray, Mahomes spins around in a circle is so funny. I call it the freaking washer machine. I don't even know. But Noah Gray on a scramble drill, he hit him on the sideline. I thought it was Justin Watson. It was Noah Gray. So Noah comes up and makes some nice plays. One thing the Chiefs need to watch is the Dolphins are 4th in sacks on the year. So Mahomes and the O-line's gotta watch that just a little bit, and then, can they get a run game established? I hope so. Another thing to note, Jalen Ramsey's back. He had that knee surgery, meniscus surgery, came back pretty quickly. Actually, I don't want to spend too long on this, but Jalen Ramsey was like pissed at Adam Schefter because Adam Schefter earlier last week said he was going to be playing and returning in this game. And he's like, Jalen Ramsey's like, I like Schefter, but some of these guys want to be first. They don't even want to be right. Well, he was right because Jalen Ramsey returned and he played. So I was like, what are we doing here? But Jalen Ramsey looked okay out there. He had an interception. I do think that helps the Dolphins secondary that has struggled a little bit. I wouldn't even be surprised if we see Jalen Ramsey on Travis Kelce. Now, Travis Kelce against Jalen Ramsey, was it last year in the Rams game? Scorched him like an egg on a 200-degree sidewalk. Like, Kelce can still shake him, but he is a good cornerback. So I think it's going to help. But I am curious to see how the impact of Jalen Ramsey back does for the Dolphins.
Yeah, I like what you said about the red zone. That's such a good call out because you can't win this game with field goals. As magical as Harrison Butker's leg is, you cannot win this game with field goals. Not with how quickly that team scores.
No, exactly. Exactly.
So,
with that being said, unless you got more to add, even though predictions are whatever to me, you got a score prediction for this game?
I'm done trying. Cole, the last 5 weeks, it's been atrocious. I've been completely off. But
well, here, I'll say this. The Chiefs are 2.5-point favorites, for what that's worth. The Chiefs are averaging 23, 24 points per game. The Dolphins are averaging 30-ish points a game. However, the Chiefs' defense is only giving up 17 points a game on average. The Dolphins' defense is allowing 25.5 points per game. I don't know if any of that helps because...
It helps. It helps.
I mean, I'll go first. I'll go first. You want to go first?
Go.
Ladies first, or you want me? What do you want?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean,
if we have the same thing, I'll just say we have the same thing.
Okay. I mean, I haven't looked too much at other people's predictions, but I'm just gonna go off what you said. I do think both teams are gonna be in the 20s. Is where I'm going. I'm just gonna go 24-27 Chiefs win, and I'm gonna probably be clinching my entire 3-hour live stream on Sunday morning at the crack of dawn streaming this game.
It's so early. No, that's a good prediction. I like that. I'm a woman scorned over the last few weeks. So I'm going to say 2017 Chiefs. I think based off of what you were saying with our defense, I think we can keep them to 17. I don't know that we can score more than 20, especially if we get into a situation at the end where we don't score because we don't want to give them the ball back. So 2017 Chiefs for final answer. Final answer.
I feel like we're on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
We
final
are.
Answer.
And I'm sweating like I'm on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire as well.
Well, there we go. So you say 27 or 20-17?
Yeah.
And I said 27-24.
Yeah.
We got I see some people in chat. Dolphins 38-27. And he said, I can't remember the last time I picked against my Chiefs. Yoleezy said more like 10-17. I hope not. Amani said 28-24 Chiefs. Cole said 31-28 Chiefs. So we got a few different people. KC Chiefs said Dolphins 31, Chiefs 24. Unfortunately, I think we go on a skid versus them and the Eagles, which that would definitely be rough because they would then be 6-4 after 10 games. So that's definitely going to be rough if that happens.
I don't even need that. That was a lot to take in. I hope that's not the case, but it's the NFL. Those are some good teams.
Definitely good teams.
Take care of the Dolphins.
We got some super chats to look at. Then they're kind of talking about the game and stuff like that. But first, real quick, shout out to the channel sponsor that I don't always plug in these live streams because I just forget. But Underdog Fantasy, they're still running their $500 special for new customers. You can double your first deposit up to $500. We're doing weekly pick'ems. I got weekly drafts. Use code HBTC. A lot of fun, man. Me and Troy, my editor, we go back and forth all the time on, what should this pick'em be, higher or lower? I'm trying to hit all 5 on my pick'ems because you can 20x it's hard to do. So don't get it twisted. It's not easy to hit all 5, but if you do, put 50 down, win 1,000. So we're really trying to freaking do it. Probably by the end of the season we'll break even. But we've been trying, and it's a lot of fun because I look at the game a little bit different when you've got pick'ems. You don't only have to do Chiefs and against who they're playing. You can do anybody around the league, but that's been a lot of fun, and then the drafts too. So shout out to Underdog for the season-long partnership. It's been a blast working with them. So got to shout out to them. With that being said, let's get into these. Sean with the 10. Appreciate you, man. He said, missed the beginning, so I apologize if I repeat on the topic. Kylie, is it breakfast buffet Sunday bright and early? That's that.
Sean.
What are you going to do at 8 in the morning?
I know. So I was trying to think like strategically, how can I not get up earlier than I need to? So I'm thinking about like making a breakfast casserole ahead of time and putting it in the fridge, and then just throwing that in the oven. And then I think we're going to have a couple people over, so I might have someone grab donuts on the way. But the thing I'm most excited about, guys, and I need you to pay attention, is cranberry mimosas. Cranberry mimosas. Because I almost was like, is it too soon? I know we just hit November today, but cranberry season is here. So cranberry mimosas, definitely going to need something to calm the nerves. I'll be very nervous. But so that's what we got going, Sean. I want to know what you're doing too, Sean. Hit me up. Let me know.
Dude, mimosas might be lit. I'll be drinking cold brew. Dude, I might spike my cold brew. I'm just playing. It's so early. I don't even know if I'm going to drink, dude, during the game. It's too early. I'm like, I know some people don't care, but I'm like, I don't know, dude. I need coffee and I need to be buzzed out of my mind on caffeine. So that's probably what I'm going to be doing. Everything weather with the 5. Hey, Cole and Kylie. Dolphins aren't good against good teams like the Chiefs. We should be able to win this game. Chiefs 30-27. Let's freaking go. How about those Chiefs? Xander, appreciate you, man, as always, brother. Thanks for the 5. I hope that's definitely the case. Definitely hope that's the case. Sean is back with another 10. Said, Rasheed is my boy, but his blocking needs to improve. I think our D-line will bat down at least 5 balls. Offense fixes it this week. Might just be 1 week offensively, but I still trust this team. Yeah. That is an underrated stat of the Chiefs defense too. They lead the league in batted down passes since the beginning of 2022. And I think George Karlaftis is at the front of that too. They're exceptionally good at batting down or batting up passes. Even think about the Chargers game. Aminahue batted up that pass on 3rd down and Snead picked it off. They've had multiple batted down passes where it's not a sack technically, but it kind of works like one. I mean, it prevents a pass from happening, and it's a loss of a down. So again, you're not losing yards, but it's the closest thing you can get to a sack, in my opinion, without getting a sack, if that makes sense. So love that.
Whatever keeps Tyreek Hill out of the end zone.
Yeah, facts. Just bat the balls down. Sean with another super chat with the 5. Dolphins' last win against a team with a winning record was September 25th, 2022, week 3 against the Bills. So I actually looked into that because I was curious. And basically just what this means is at the time the Dolphins play the team, they haven't had a winning record at the time they actually play them. Some of these teams I think went on to maybe be above 500 and stuff like that, like later on down the stretch, but they haven't played a team and beat a team with a winning record since September 25th of 2022, which is week 3 against the Bills, which is pretty crazy to think about.
It is crazy. And I like that stat.
That's
even
a crazy
if there are technicalities. Stat,
yeah. It's kind of like one of those stats that's like, okay, that's weird. But yeah, let's go, Sean. Appreciate all the dono bombs, brother. Jaden with the 2. What's up, Jaden? Chiefs 37, Dolphins 20. I mean, I would like that way better than what I said. I said 27-24. Kylie said 20-17. God bless America. So I would prefer that a lot. Yo, you got Kadarius Toney in the chat, which we need to figure out what he's been up to and what's going on there. But he's got the 99-cent bomb and the 2 bomb. 51-54 Chiefs. The Joker on top. Have respect for Sky. Oh, God bless. 51-54, I'd lose my mind. We're talking the next Rams Chiefs Monday Night Football game. I mean, that would be unreal.
That would be crazy. I don't think we've scored 50 points, in the last 3 weeks. That would be nuts. Well, we scored
31 against the Chargers, so then 9. And what we scored the week before against the Broncos? 19.
Oh,
we got there. We got there.
We got there.
We did get there, but barely. Yo, Daniel with the gifted as well. Appreciate that, brother. As always, man. Appreciate that. And then Kelly's in here with the 10 bomb. Kylie, love your input as always. And breakfast casserole made the night before is exactly what I'm planning. Possibly Bloody Marys for the game. Want this win so badly, go Chiefs. You a Bloody Mary person?
It depends on the day. I do feel like Bloody Mary bar could be, Kelly, I feel like a Bloody Mary bar might be the right move. You get some bacon, you can put bacon in there. I've seen some crazy things in a Bloody Mary, like a cheeseburger. Not that I would do that in a morning game, but you can do like anything in a Bloody Mary. But
that's what Andy Reid does.
Breakfast casserole, of course, right? He has to have a cheeseburger. With a side of a cheeseburger. Definitely, Kelly, what breakfast casserole? I'm dying to know what breakfast casserole you're making. If you're on Twitter, hit me up and let me know. We can talk about that because there's so many different ones you can make and they're all delicious. But love that. Love that. Go Chiefs. And thank you for the kind words.
Drill Chappie said, Jones not getting sacks the last 2 weeks, but that is why others are. Teams focused on stopping Jones allows George and others to get one-on-one. Mike Dana has like 5.5 sacks. I don't remember how many George has, but he had 2.5 last game alone. Crazy. Yeah. He's tied for 7th with the most pressures in the NFL as well. George Karlaftis, underrated.
Fun fact about George Karlaftis, he actually leads the team in sacks, I believe. I believe he has 6. And
okay,
I think
did he sneak up after that Broncos game?
Yeah, and I think Mike, Dana, and Jones each either have 5 or 5.5 or something like that. So, I mean, they're all right there. And when you think about how much time's left in the season, if they all get to 10, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. So,
dude, anyway. Let's go freaking George. Love that. Kiddist with the 5. Appreciate that, man. If the Chiefs win against the Dolphins this Sunday, they will win the Super Bowl. I mean, that's okay. I'm down. If they win this Sunday, they win the Super Bowl, I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. Let's go, dude. Yo, Kadarius Toney's back. Kadarius Toney, man, his new single that he just dropped must be doing really well with the royalties, man, because he's just making it rain over here. So I appreciate that. Somebody said, what is the picture is Lauren. Hi, Lauren. She said, what is the picture of Kansas City if Kansas City loses this game? This feels like a crucial game to maintain respect.
Well, we would drop a game and go to 6-3, and then Miami would be in sole possession, depending on what happens around the rest of the league, but they would be in sole possession of the 1 seed. And then we would go into the bye.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we would go into the bye, which would be a good time for a bye if we take 2 L's in a row. And then before we pick up with the Eagles, because that'll be a tough game as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be overly concerned if the Chiefs lost to the Dolphins. I don't think I don't want them to, but you know, the Chiefs they lose games that are close and tough every year. Like, think about it. Last year they lose 3 games, but they lost to the Bills, they lost to the Bengals, and they lost to the Colts. All 3, the Colts is like, what the hell was that? But the other 2, it's like, well, the Chiefs can't beat playoff contenders. Like, they lost to the Bills, they lost to the Bengals. They're not going to win in the playoffs. Well, suck it, because they won the Super Bowl. So how about them apples? Then think about 2 years ago, they get blown out by the Titans. They got blown out by the Bills. You know, they figured it out, you know, and ended up making another deep postseason run. So there's always these games where, yeah, the Chiefs hopefully win this game against the Dolphins. I wouldn't be overly concerned if they lose unless the offense again looks like they did against the Broncos. Multiple turnovers, wide receivers aren't where they're supposed to be. Mahomes is I'm gonna say that's not happening, dude, because Mahomes isn't going out there feeling like complete dog shite. I mean, if we're gonna go German with the vernacular. But like that's not gonna happen. I don't think that's gonna happen again. Mahomes will get it figured out. You notice too, like at the beginning of the game, Mahomes was scrambling. I think he was freaking dog tired because he wasn't doing it a lot near the end. Like, he was scrambling trying to stay alive in the pocket, but he wasn't doing a lot of running up the field. He was gassed.
No, there's a chance he didn't even know where he was at that point. He was just like, are we still playing?
He didn't even know where he was. That's hilarious. Everything Weather said, who do you think we should have block Hill if and when we beat the Dolphins? I will have a lot more confidence in the team moving forward. Oh, trust me, don't get it twisted, chat. I want the Chiefs to win this game really bad. I want Tyreek Hill to not have to say stupid stuff on his podcast for at least a week. Like, please, for the love of God. I mean, on Hill, it's either, I would assume, Snead. He was on Justin Jefferson. He was on Keenan Allen. He was on pick your person on the... I think he was on Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy at times with the Broncos. Just, it's probably Snead. Could be McDuffie, but I also would presume they bracket him, Brian Cook or Justin Reed. And Cook struggled a little bit more than Justin Reed, so hopefully it's Snead and Reed. Ooh, Speed, Snead, and Reed. Yeah, we'll see, but that's what I would think. If Kylie disagrees, she can chime in.
I don't disagree.
For sure.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Snead. You need someone physical, like we were talked about earlier.
Yeah,
he's
get in his face, man. And Tyreek's little. Push that little child around.
Exactly.
Bully that kid. Bully that kid.
Exactly. Yes.
Sean said, Sean said, do you remember when our D-line was the biggest concern? LOL. George is at 6.5 sacks, I believe. Well, the biggest concern for me at the beginning of the year was Chris Jones was holding out. Aminihu was suspended. And then you could definitely tell, dude, they weren't doing when rushing 4. I mean, we were like, hello, it's me. Can you please rush the QB? Like, I'm never singing again. But
Great song.
I broke into Adele and then just freelanced it on my own off key, and it didn't work. But we were like, yo, this is crazy. But then Jones returned, Aminihu returned, and it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
So
they're coming along now.
Oh, heck yeah. They're firing.
See?
Chief KT with the 2. Every time we run the ball 10 plus times, we win. Come on, Andy. 10? Only 10 plus? No way.
That's crazy.
That seems low.
That does seem low. But we also only, I
don't know
how many times we ran it. Yeah. Yeah. We gotta distribute that. We gotta distribute the ball a little better in regards to passing and running. God.
I don't think people ever want to hear me sing again.
Oh no, are you not getting good reviews?
Rodolfo was like, Cole? Well, it was pretty bad. Hello? I need an echo thing, like a reverb thing on my mic. That would make it sound better. Yo, oh my gosh, Reeves with the 20. Controversial. Appreciate the 20. It's not controversial, but this question might be. I don't know. But I think that the focus will go to offense, even if that means letting Chris Jones walk. Oh, in the offseason, Mahomes is the face of the franchise, and they want to make sure he has help because in the past, they got by with a bad defense. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a whole nother conversation, in my opinion, of what the Chiefs... Sorry, my dog just barked and it scared me. What the Chiefs are going to do in the offseason. Travis Kelce's not getting any younger. They do have some investment in the wide receiver room. It's not like they didn't try. Sky, second round. Rasheed, he's showing out. He's a second round. Mm-hmm. And then Kadarius Toney is a former first-round pick that they gave up a third and a sixth for. I mean, they're definitely trying. I mean, another thing for me, aside from that, Kylie, I'd be curious your thoughts. Like, they need a left tackle next year. I mean, Donovan Smith is on a one-year deal. You can upgrade at wide receiver if you want, but if you don't have a left tackle holding down the line, I mean, Mahomes ain't going to be able to throw to that nice, new, shiny wide receiver. You know, definitely a lot of things to process through and think about. Jones is one of one, though, but he's going to be 31 next year. So they're getting at that age now where it's like, oof, that's tough.
It's tough. Man, off-season moves are going to be a whole thing because we've got quite a few free agents, and there's a lot of needs.
Quite a bit. Snead, Willie Gay. Donovan
Tranquil.
Smith. Tranquil. Smith. Yeah, there's even more.
Chris
I mean, McKinnon,
Jones,
like a lot of guys on a one-year deal. Yep. So I'll definitely be curious to see what happens. You feel free to weigh in on that if you want, Kylie. For me, it's like I don't even know. Like, there's so much season left to play. My mind's not even completely there. I do. Brett Veach has always said I will always do what I can to get weapons for Patrick Mahomes, and I mean, for a while this wasn't what Veach drafted, but he had Kelsey and Hill. I think it was Dorsey. Right? Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And Mahomes was the last year before Veach was GM. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know that we see Chris Jones back, but could be wrong. Reeps with another 5. Oh, go ahead, Kylie.
Reeps. Oh no, I would say it would be a bummer, but it's also a business. So those are the things that it sucks, but it happens. Same with Snead. Yeah.
Let's not forget Spags practice against Hill. Same with Snead. They know what to do. I bet they have a good game plan for him. You feel confident about that?
Yeah, I do. I think they're ready to go. And I think, like you said, with the blitzing, Spags is going to dial up all sorts of disguised blitz packages. And I think we're going to get after Tua. I can't wait. Oh my gosh. I just got so excited. Like in that one little moment we were talking about blitzing. I've been excited, but like the closer we get, Dang.
Mile High Highlights is in here. Probably got a YouTube channel with 5 subs. Nice highlight channel, dog. About as impoverished as your entire franchise has been the last 8 years, homie. So enjoy the dub, the first dub since Obama was sitting in the friggin' White House, dog. I mean,
yeah.
You guys won. You got the dub. Good job. Hope you feel
every
great
17
about your
games.
Hope you feel great about your team because they got 1 win in 8 years. Hope that makes you feel better about your life. Last one. Because we're still going. The super chats just keep going, Kylie. Minihue is very... Yeah, Sean, you're the man. You guys have been awesome, man. Appreciate all the... I mean, we don't always expect this, but dude, appreciate it. Minihue is very familiar with McDaniels, too. Yeah, because McDaniels was with the Niners, for what that's worth.
Yeah.
And when Minihue was there.
True. That's a great call out. That's like not a storyline that's really being talked about. It's a good little call out there. Yeah, I'm so excited for this game. Am I even gonna sleep Saturday night? Are you gonna sleep Saturday night? Like I feel like
I'm gonna sleep like a freaking baby. But I wish the game was later. I mean, geez Louise.
I mean,
I wish
I've been
the game
complaining
was
about
later.
this game since it was on the schedule. I was like 8:30. God, I've not even brushed my teeth yet. It'll be different.
We going straight to cold brew. I'm not even gonna dilute my cold brew. I'm just gonna drink concentrate. I have 2 screens right here, and I'm gonna see 4 of them when I'm calling the game because I'm gonna be like Snoop Dogg is on the good herb. I'm gonna be like that on coffee, dude. I'm gonna be in the zone. Reeps with another 2.
Bouncing,
he said,
bouncing off the wall.
He said, here's more just because I like you guys, bro.
Oh,
Reeps, you're the freaking man, dude.
We appreciate that. We appreciate all you guys. That's so nice.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Kylie checked in at 6:30 and she goes, "How's it going? You good for the stream?" And I was like, my editor Troy got off early today and he's going to a Timberwolves game, I think, for the NBA. And I was like, I'm trying to get this video out. I was like, I want to stream. Let's make it happen. And the video turned out and this stream turned out great. Kylie, appreciate you as always.
Thank you.
This is episode 8. So
yeah,
almost halfway through.
Crazy.
Heck yeah. You have any last words or thoughts before we get out of here?
Let's go!
Let's freaking go!
Let's go! I'm so excited. No, I have confidence that this team's going to figure it out. I just think there's too much experience and too much talent for them not to figure it out. So don't get discouraged from last week. Keep your chin up. This team's going to get back on track.
Let's go, dude. It was an ugly loss, but I am not overly concerned about how the loss went with the Broncos with 5 turnovers, dude. I mean, geez Louise. You can't win like that.
Can't do it. It's tough.
Dude, my dog is
beating yourself.
Freaking out upstairs. I don't know what she's doing.
She's saying go Chiefs.
Dude, Rick with the $. Appreciate you, Rick. Dub Freak with the 20 said, "Gotta admit, having a game at a decent time at UK is great. But honestly, guys, hope you are doing great. Do you feel we go more offense in the draft?" Ooh, it's hard for me to answer draft questions a little bit because I need to see what they do with free agency in the offseason first, and then they only have 5 draft picks. They don't have a lot of room to make a lot of moves. But yeah, if they don't sign a left tackle in the offseason, I would expect them to go up and get one, hopefully in the draft. But I honestly have no idea. They were willing to pay Orlando Brown. Do they move Jawan Taylor to the left? I don't think so, but they're paying him 4-year, $80 million. Yeah, I'll be curious to see what that. But there's a lot. Here's my thing. A lot of season left. Injuries could happen that you think, oh, this guy's going to be fine next year. He'll be good. And he gets injured and he ain't fine. So be curious to see that, how free agency plays out, and then the draft. So not 100% sure. Antonio with the 5 gifted. You guys are going nuts today. Man, I appreciate y'all. After a depressing loss, Kansas City HBTC fam is picking me up. Kylie up. Let's go. Appreciate y'all more than you know.
You guys are so kind. Everybody's so nice. See? You got to keep the good vibes going. Good vibes. Got to stay on that good vibe level after last week. It's good.
Last thought before we get out of here. The Chiefs leave tomorrow. The Dolphins left Monday. Do you care that the Dolphins have been there for 3 days before the Chiefs? Andy Reid has his reasons. He's 0-2. No, sorry, 2-0 international games. Beat the Lions in London. Beat the Chargers in Mexico City. He likes to leave later in the week, have a normal week of practice. Less time over there for distractions and being thrown off. The only flip side I can see for the Dolphins is they're there 3 days earlier and somewhat acclimated to operating in that time zone. But I think it's fine. You know, you could look at it both ways. And there's pros and cons.
When I first found out, I was like, oh, that's a little odd that we're leaving later than they are by a few days, not just like a day. But I think it does keep the mentality. I think it keeps them more focused here to go through the same routine here. And then bonus, I mean, it was Halloween. They were able to spend that time with their families, which I think if you have kids, if the players have kids, that probably meant a lot to them. So I think that, you know, that's always good for the soul. And it gives them a little less time to play around in Germany, and treat it less like a vacation and more like a game. So I think there are some pros and cons to both, but I trust Andy. He says it's what's worked in the past, and it's what worked in the past. So that's what we'll do.
Here we go. We days away from the Germany game. Tyreek, Tua, Waddle, etc., etc. Kelly said, Kylie and Cole, both classy, both great minds of all things Chiefs. Appreciate that a ton. Corey said, HBTC, best channel in the NFL. Dude, you guys are awesome, man. Appreciate y'all. We're going to get out of here, man, because it's 9:20, and I've taken up enough of Kylie's time, even though she's been enjoying the time for sure. But Kylie, appreciate you as always. Guys, thanks for all the gifteds, the donos, all the engaging questions. Appreciate y'all so much. And until next time, let's go.
Let's freaking go.
How about those Chiefs?